Okay, today we're diving into something truly fascinating, right at the cutting edge of cancer research. It's this idea that connects what we eat, or more specifically, what we don't eat, to how well cancer treatments actually work. It's a field sparking a ton of hope, but also raising some really important questions.
I mean, just think about that question for a second. Could a specific way of eating actually amplify the power of something like chemotherapy? That's exactly what scientists are digging into right now, and believe me, what they're finding is pretty remarkable.
So, how on earth does this work? And let's be clear, we're not just talking about skipping a meal here or there. This is a very specific scientific strategy that's designed to put cancer cells in a really tough spot.
And here's the key term, the fasting mimicking diet, or FMD. It's a specially designed protocol that gives you the benefits of a water-only fast, but in a way that's a bit more manageable. And the most critical thing to get here is that it's designed to be used alongside standard medical treatments, never, ever as a replacement. The science behind this is just so cool. It's a principle called differential stress resistance. So here's the idea. When your body goes into a fasting state, your normal, healthy cells kind of go into a lockdown mode. They hunker down in a protective bunker, focusing on repair and survival, which makes them tougher against the toxicity of chemo. But cancer cells, they can't do that. Their only job, because of their mutations, is to grow, grow, grow. So when you suddenly cut off their fuel supply, they're left weakened, exposed, and way more vulnerable to the chemotherapy attack.
So that's the theory, right? Sounds great on paper. But what happens when you actually test this in the real world with real cancer patients? Well, this is where the story gets incredibly compelling. This quote is from a clinical trial, and you just have to look at the language. They're not saying some improvement. They're talking about exceptional responses. And here's the really important part. This was seen in patients with advanced cancers, people who had a poor prognosis to begin with. We're talking about the toughest cases. Now, this exceptional response was seen in 5 patients. And I know what you might be thinking. 5. Sounds like a tiny number. But in the world of advanced cancer research, seeing such a strong, positive signal, even in a handful of patients, is a massive deal. It makes everyone in the field stop and pay very close attention. And just look at the kinds of cancers these people were fighting. We're talking small cell lung cancer, metastatic pancreatic and colorectal cancer, and 2 patients with metastatic triple-negative breast cancer. These are some of the most aggressive and notoriously difficult to treat diseases out there.
Okay, so those 5 cases were like a flare going up in the night, a really powerful signal. But to really know if you're onto something, you need bigger, more robust studies. And that brings us to the DIRECT trial, which was a larger randomized study that focused specifically on breast cancer patients. And the results from this trial? A really clear difference. When the doctors looked at the tumor scans, the MRIs and ultrasounds, they saw that the patients in the FMD group were way more likely to have their tumors shrink compared to the patients who were just eating a regular diet. But this is the most incredible finding of all. This is the real mic drop moment. After treatment, when pathologists looked at the tumor tissue under a microscope, they found something amazing. The patients who actually managed to stick with the FND protocol were over 4 times more likely to have 90 to 100% of their tumor cells completely destroyed. I mean, that is just a massive, massive difference. Okay, so this all sounds almost too good to be true. But now we have to hit the brakes for a second and have a really crucial reality check. Because all that promise is tied to a protocol that is incredibly challenging. That same DIRECT trial also uncovered a huge hurdle: compliance. While the results for the people who stuck with it were fantastic, look at this. Only about 20%, that's just 1 in 5 patients, was able to follow the diet for all of their chemo cycles. So why is it so hard? Well, the diet itself is pretty restrictive. A lot of patients just plain didn't like the food. And you have to put yourself in their shoes. They are already going through the huge physical and emotional toll of chemotherapy. Asking them to add this layer of intense dietary discipline on top of all that, it's just a monumental challenge. This brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important message of this whole explainer. This is absolutely not something to try on your own. Any idea about doing a diet like this must be part of a deep and ongoing conversation with your oncologist. It's a medical intervention, plain and simple. Let's be crystal clear about this. The fasting mimicking diet is being studied as an adjunct. That means it's an add-on to standard medical care. It is not an alternative cure, and it is absolutely not a do-it-yourself project you find on the internet. Trying this without a doctor watching you like a hawk can be genuinely dangerous.
So, where does all this leave us? We've got this incredible, exciting promise on one side, and these very real, very significant challenges on the other. What's the path forward from here? Let's just boil it all down. The key takeaways are pretty clear. Number one, the FMD shows real potential to make chemo more powerful. Number two, it might even help protect our healthy cells from damage. But number three, the protocol is incredibly hard for patients to follow. And that leads to the final, non-negotiable point. This has to be done under strict medical supervision, no exceptions. And that leaves us with this final, really thought-provoking question. We're still in the early days, but all of this science is pointing toward a potential future where a carefully controlled, medically supervised diet isn't just a side note about healthy living, but a powerful key that could unlock the full, devastating force of our best cancer therapies. What a thought!